Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Average Movie Review Podcast. As promised, we are going to review the Thunderbolts. I just finished watching it. I'm going to do a spoiler-free review for the first 3 to 5 minutes. Because I don't know really how long that's going to be. And then after that, we're deep diving right into it. We're going to talk about the post-credit scenes, mid-credit scenes, everything. We're going to talk about the whole thing, and we're going to answer the question: is the MCU back? I'm not going to answer it right now. You're just going to have to listen to the end to find out if I think the MCU is back or not. But let's dive in. Non-spoiler review. I'll be honest, it was a good film. Really good film. Some of the better MCU projects that have come out, 10 times better than Cap 4. Now, I know Cap 4, you can't really compare it because there's so many issues with it and reshoots and all that stuff. But still, I would say better than Cap 4. It was funny, great action sequences, good storyline, great way to bring a bunch of characters that people may or may not be familiar with, plus giving them their backstory as well so that the people who aren't familiar with them, for example, I don't even think people even remember Ghost, or people probably haven't even seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier to remember who Walker is, right? The fake Captain America, I guess, quote unquote. So to give their backstory a little bit, who they are, and I know definitely people are not going to remember who Taskmaster is. So yeah, 100%. Great way. Florence Pugh, I'll be honest, I wouldn't say I wasn't like a big fan, but I was like, I liked her, but now I love her. I think she's absolutely amazing in this film. She does an amazing job as Yelena. She brings the character to life, and one of the key themes is her character brings the light, which we will definitely talk about in the spoiler-filled part of this episode. But it's very true, and she brings that light herself. So kudos to Florence again. Amazing job as Yelena. I love seeing Bucky on screen. Honestly, just brings a smile to my face. Sebastian Stan, he will always forever be our Bucky, and I don't know. I guess just having him around just brings back the old Avengers feelings. I don't know why, but again, he does an amazing job for what he's in, how long he's in for the movie. Phenomenal job on his part as well. Newcomer, the Sentry, right? Who is played by what is his name? I had it at the tip of my tongue, and for some reason, right now at this exact moment, I can't remember. So just give me a second here. Lewis Pullman. Lewis Pullman does a wonderful job as the Sentry. And kudos to him. Holy crap. Absolutely phenomenal guy. Seriously. He plays both characters, as you already know, the Void and him as a Sentry, phenomenally. And Bob. He plays really 3 characters, and he does such a good job. So kudos to him. Love the addition. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Ghost does her job. Does her job on screen. I will not lie about that. She does an amazing job as Ghost, and she brings so much more light to the character than she had in her own movie, where she was the villain. And unfortunately, she was sidecasted. So she does a phenomenal job in this film, and I really enjoyed her presence. David Harbour as Alexei, or the Red Guardian. He's been fantastic the whole way. Can't even complain. He's just funny and hilarious the whole way. And Julia Dreyfus. Well, I don't know why that was so hard to say. As Valentina, phenomenal job. Kudos to her. We've seen her in past projects. She did a good job, but this one, she really took it for the nail, and she was just evil for the sake of being evil, which I love. Honestly, I love it. She's like a political evil woman, and she does it so well. So honestly, don't change her. Don't let her be a good person. Just let her be the way she is, and let her continue doing the shenanigans that she does, because she does it so well. So yeah, overall, I'm going to give this film a solid 8 out of 10, or maybe an 8.5. I can't decide right now, but I think after a second watch, I'll probably be 8.5, but 8 to 8.5 out of 10. There's a lot of themes in this film, but the main theme that I think that you should understand or take away from this is I guess just the family and the loneliness themes that are addressed in this film, right? Like no matter how lonely you are in the world, there's always going to be people there for you. You just have to reach out for that help. So I think that's what they were really trying to show, given the characters that they were being used and stuff, and that a group of misfits can really become a family, right? It was giving like Guardians of the Galaxy vibes, which was again a phenomenal series, as you already know, like the phenomenal trilogy, but it was giving it in a more dark and twisted way, and it works. It works beautifully. So kudos to them. Also, the movie was funny. There were a few cringy jokes here and there, but I will say this: the audience laughed a lot, right? So if the audience is laughing, if my theater is laughing as a whole, we're laughing together. Perfect. And there were a few laughs that were kind of like, how do I say this? They were like secluded, not secluded, but they were like separated from the audiences. Like only the people that were actually paying attention to the MCU would laugh at, and it was perfect as well. Again, there were a few cringy jokes here and there. It wasn't that great, but I like it happens. You had to put it in. And there were a few gasps as well, and they go the extra mile. So I really, really love that. So again, great job to them for bringing that out. It's a short film, but it works. And honestly, it's nice. It's only 2 hours. Maybe that's not a short film to some people, but 2 hours, 6 minutes goes by pretty quickly, and it just works. It's beautifully paced too. That's one thing I love about it. It's actually beautifully paced. It's not rushed. It's not slowed down. It's beautifully paced. But there are some things that I will say, like some scenes that dragged on a little bit longer. Some of the talking was a little bit too much, I think. But other than that, really, really good movie. So definitely go give it a watch. I'm going to answer the question I know you've been waiting for. Is the MCU back at the end? So if you're still here, I'm going to start with the spoilers. We're going to go into that right now. And if you want to take a pause, come back after you watch it and then listen to me, great. If you're not listening to me, who cares? Also, shout out to my 2 subscribers. I don't know who you are, but I appreciate the fact that you subscribe to me. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If I ever make it famous, I will definitely never forget you, even though I don't know who you are, but thank you so much. But yeah, so continuing forward, this is spoiler filled. So here we go. Okay. Oh, there's so much to unpack here. The dynamic of the team. So the main core team is actually Yelena, Walker, Ghost, and then Alexei, and then Bucky. Taskmaster dies in the film, which I'm kind of happy about a little bit, and I don't mean this in any negative way in the sense that like I think the character was useless. No, I think whoever they bring in as the new Taskmaster, they'll be able to give it the proper origin story that we want, and I think it'll be more justice to the character. A lot of people were confused about the mask. The mask actually works. Don't hate on the mask. Her look was great. Olga, for the 5 minutes that she was in the film, did her job and did her part. The fight scene between her and Walker was perfect. Like the whole, technically, she was fighting everyone in that little thing in the base. Perfect, amazing. The opening scene with Florence kind of talking about, or like Yelena talking about the loneliness and about what she's doing and how she feels useless and she feels like nothing really matters and all of that, and then jumping off and finding out that she actually did that practically amazing. Again, this film proves that we don't need CGI, shoot more on location, which they've done throughout the film, which is phenomenal. And you can see that even in the BTS and like all of the interviews that they chose to film on site. And it makes, I swear to God, man, I can't even tell you guys, it actually makes such a huge difference. So please, 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 please continue doing that. It makes my life easier. I enjoy the film. I don't get, distracted, or I don't, come back from the reality, like come back to reality. And I'm like, oh, this is CGI. This was so garbage. No, like I'm actually enjoying it because it feels like I'm there, and visually it's stunning, right? So again, beautifully, beautifully done there. Meeting Bob for the first time. Again, Lewis Pullman does such a wonderful job as the character. He's funny. He's interesting. He plays the character perfectly from what I could understand from reading the comics and whatnot. Like he brings the character to life. Yelena once again does a great job being this person who she is, being kind of like she's in a tough spot at this point, right? She goes to see her father. Her father's also in a tough spot. And she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to work for Valentina. And then the father's like, just do this one last job and then maybe talk to Valentina and maybe go out for the glory, become, instead of doing covert operations, do the ones that were, your sister, like, take the fame, take the glory. Maybe that's what you need, right? And it's funny because most people want to stay out of the spotlight, but then they're trying to say that maybe sometimes you need the spotlight to feel something. And it's an interesting take on that, which is I think, very, very interesting. And they do that, and then they address the fact that the Avengers are gone, which I love, and they keep bringing it up just to remind you, like it's not even to remind you, it's to, I guess, feel like, for you to feel like, okay, they're addressing these issues. Like, the Avengers are really gone. There is nobody's coming to save you. We don't know where they are. We don't know what they're doing, right? Of course they're not gone, but, like, they're just not here anymore. And I like that they address that, like, everyone's scattered everywhere, right? So again, great job on that part. Julia playing Valentina does such a wonderful job as a villain, as I mentioned in the spoiler-free review. Phenomenal job, man. Honestly, kudos to that woman for doing the shit that she does. She's honestly amazing at what she does. So great job to her for that. The action sequences are phenomenal. Seeing Sebastian Stan as Bucky again is just so much fun. I swear to God, man, it is. I don't know how to say it to you guys, but it just brings me to tears when I see him, because, like, there's the scene where he shows up in the desert and whatnot, and honestly, I almost shed a tear because it just felt like the old Avengers were coming back. I don't know. It was just so nice, heartwarming to see him, and he does such a great job. Honestly, Sebastian Stan is just, I stand with this man. Absolutely amazing, amazing guy. Bucky Barnes, his character has grown so much, and we've seen his progression. So, like, it's just nice to see him on screen half the time. Sentry is absolutely amazing. The Void goes crazy in this film. He just pretty much sends everyone to the Void. The idea that the people in the Void have to relive their worst memories and their worst moments, right? And that's the whole point, right? Like, of the film, that you need to come out of those moments, right? You see that throughout the entire film. Whenever he touches someone, we go to see their worst moments, and instead of accepting it or moving forward with it, they still live in it, which is why they have a void in them, right? And that's why the Void is able to take that and use that as power. I don't know if that's, don't quote me on it. I'm just saying, like, if that's the case, but, like, he can use it against them, right? And then in the final battle scene, we see, again, I'm going to be all over the place. I'm not really trying to go in timeline, but I think, like, the final battle scene is some of the best stuff we see, where they're all together, and the Sentry, Robert, is fighting the Void by himself, right? And the team comes together to Robert because they know that he needs someone right now. They know that he needs someone to hold him, to tell him that everything's going to be okay. And Yelena does such a good job because she realizes that maybe if she had someone like that, maybe she wouldn't be as lonely and as sad as she is. And she finally realizes she does, right? She has her father, the Red Guardian, not really her father, but you understand what I'm saying. She has this team that's around her that comes together as one unit, and they work together. And she finally has somewhat of a family. A dysfunctional family, but a family again. And this was reiterated back in the Black Widow film as well, where you know they, like the whole idea of family. Like, she always wanted to be part of the family, but the family just didn't care to be a family, right? And she was always missing that. Like, that was missing in her, and now she finally kind of has that, right? And then she also wants Robert or Bob to know that, like, just because you're different doesn't mean that you have to do this alone. Like, we can do this together. And that's the beauty of this film. That's what brings it together. It's a little cringe. I know for a lot of people it might be a little bit cringy, but that's the whole point, right? Like, the Void uses your, I guess, like, your deepest, darkest moments, right? It tries to turn you into the Void, into a Void, right? And that's the whole, and the only way to get out of that is, like, by reaching out, and as a person, like, reach out to the people you care about and try your best to keep in contact with these people that that love you, and that can help you get out of these dark moments. And that's what the film really is about, is just getting out of those dark moments. And they do that beautifully. There's also the scene between her and, where she confronts the Red Guardian, or Alexei, and tells her, like, you weren't there for me for a year. Like, my sister died, everything died, and you disappeared, and I had nobody, and nobody knows what I feel like, right? And they address it, and she, again, that scene between her and her dad, beautiful, absolutely amazing. One of the craziest fight scenes. Now, this is where the CGI is a little bit wonky. You'd be lying if you said it wasn't, but a little bit wonky. Was the little fight scene between the Sentry and the whole team, but it was done well. But it was a little bit, like, oh, it could have been better. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying could have been better. I'm not saying that the guys into CGI, whoever did the CGI were garbage. I'm just saying, like, they could have been just a little bit better. But besides that, like, the fight scene was pretty epic to watch. Great fight scene between the four of the assassins, or the five assassins that were in the room. That was awesome to watch as well. Bucky doing his thing as usual, and then, like, them coming together as a team. And then overall, this film is great. It is a great, I guess, step forward for the MCU. This was fun. This was sad. This was emotional. This had everything. It had a good storyline. Everything made sense. Everything progressed properly. It was well paced. The only issue I had was some scenes I just felt like were a little bit dragged on, but it is what it is. Other than that, there is a lot of talking, maybe not as much as actiony as the other films, but it works for me. And there's a lot of moments of, I guess, self-reflection, to be quite honest, right? Like, you can kind of relate to these people, because obviously not in the sense that they're superheroes, but the fact that they also have bad days, and they also have dark moments themselves, where they have to pull themselves out of it. And just like everybody in the world, like, all of us have a bad day, or all of us have those moments where we feel like we're falling into a void. And that's why we can relate to these people, but these people still try to fight every day to be better, right? So kudos to them for bringing up that topic. I think I've covered pretty much everything. There's really not much. I'm just trying to go back on in my mind right now in terms of the film. Great tactic by Valentina to create the new Avengers at the end of the film. Although now Yelena said, like, we own you. They do own her. So kudos to them on that part. And then pretty much showing that the new Avengers have arrived, and this is the team, the full team now. Yeah, I think that's about it, really. I don't think there's anything else that I'm missing from this review here. Yeah, great story, great everything. What else? Just trying to rewind here, guys. Yeah, I think that's it. That's pretty much some of the high key moments, or I guess, right? Yeah, or key moments in the film that really stood out to me. Also, I forgot to mention, what is her name? Her name is Geraldine Vishnowat. She plays Mel. She does a really good job too. She's in the film for quite some time, and she does a really good job as well. So don't sleep on her. Don't sleep on my girl Mel. She did a pretty good job as well. Yeah, I think that's about it. Let's talk about the post or mid credit scene. Is just a funny credit scene. I probably will not spoil that one. I'll let you guys enjoy that one. It's just a really funny one. It has really nothing to progress with the film itself or like the MCU timeline. It's just a little funny callback. Oh, there's a lot of callbacks too in the film to previous projects and previous things that happen and previous characters. So again, great way to call them back as well. Especially the on your left scene. That was funny. But yeah, let's see. So let's talk about this major post-credit scene. 14 months have passed. These guys are the new Avengers. The team has been set. They're working. Clearly, something has happened between Sam and Bucky, because apparently Sam is now trying to take back the name The Avengers. We're trying to get it copyrighted. There is some sort of tension that happens. And it's like one of the longest post-credit scenes. I kind of didn't want it to end, but I also knew for some reason in the Thunderbolts, like, they would put a really long credit scene because they have to in order for it to set up what's coming. They mentioned that there is a fight happening in outer space. This could be related to Doomsday. I'm not 100% sure, but there's something happening in outer space. And of course, it could be relating to what happens in the scene where they have an interdimensional anomaly where you see a spaceship coming through a dimension, and then it turns out to be Fantastic Four. So the assumption here is that Galactus most likely destroys them in Fantastic Four, or destroys the planet, destroys a dimension, and these guys have to travel to another Earth, or another Earth, yeah, technically, right, Earth 616, to escape. That is my assumption of the film. If that is true, it kind of spoils Fantastic Four for me a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see how they handle it, or why they're actually coming into this dimension. That's pretty cool. I think that's setting up really well. And again, the mention of, another space issue that is happening. I don't know if it's the same related. I think it's different. I could be wrong, but it could be right. I don't know. And that could be relating to Avengers Doomsday, right? It's 14 months out. I would assume so that it is, because technically Avengers comes out in a year. So I don't know. But yeah, we'll see how it pans out. One of the best post-credit scenes that sets up what we're finally waiting for, kind of. It does further progress to the next film and like what we could expect. So kudos to them on that one. And one of the longest post-credit scenes in MCU history. Now the real question, is the MCU back? I'm going to say, and I'm going to be as honest as I can, I'm going to say yes and no. Yes, in the sense that this is a great first step. Finally, a film that has come out that's actually fun to watch, good, doesn't have any issues. The story is consistent. Characters are great. Everybody meshes well together. Finally a good MCU project after a very, very long time, I would say. Now I'm not talking about TV shows. I'm talking about movies, right? However, is it back? No, I don't think so yet. We have to wait for Fantastic Four. If Thunderbolts was this good, I really hope Fantastic Four, reaches that potential as well, or lives up to it. I think that's my biggest thing. I don't know if it will, but I really, really hope that it does. And if so, then yes, we might be back. Like, the MCU is headed in the right direction, and then obviously the biggest project of all will be Avengers Doomsday to determine that. Somebody tweeted and said that they wish that this was handled a little bit better in terms of like setting up for the next Avengers film, and I agree with them 100%. I wish things were taken a little bit more serious and they didn't make the changes. Apparently, I think today was the actual day that Kang Dynasty was supposed to release. I wish they had continued on that path. Recasting a character is not that hard. Everyone has done it and it would have been fine. I genuinely do not know why they didn't do this, but again, it's done now. We're past it. However, I do have an idea of how we can still bring it back. Kevin Feige, if you're listening, reach out to me, brother. I can help you. But yes, I think it's a yes and no situation. You will enjoy this film. You will feel those MCU vibes. And there's another thing I forgot to mention, was the little Avengers theme that they play at the end of the film. It just gives you that nostalgic feeling, and it just feels like everything's kind of headed in the right direction. But again, if Fantastic Four lives up to the hype and it does well, then yes. Then I will say, yeah, maybe we're back. And then if Avengers Doomsday kills it, then we're definitely back. But again, for now, it's a great first step. Let's keep it forward. Let's keep it moving like this, and let's give the focus on the films. Let's give the directors what they want. Let's give the CGI team what they want. Let's shoot more on location. Let's give good stories, appealing stories that make sense. Let's develop characters like how we're doing it right now. I promise you, we will be back. And that's my full review. So yeah, let me know what you guys think after you've seen the film. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm insane? Interact with me. Let me know. I would love to hear from you, and catch me on the next one. Have a wonderful day, guys.